World building isn't just about maps or settings. It's about the experience. As authors, our job is to transport a reader, their mind, their emotions, into a world that feels real enough to step into. That's a responsibility, but getting it right doesn't mean spending 20 years building your world like Tolkien. What makes a fictional world feel real isn't just magic systems or creatures. It's the connections between history, environment, power structures, and the people living inside it. That's what brings a world to life. Where to start? Before I develop plot, I start with the world's premise. For my book, it began with the question: what if there were a world divided into 3 classes based on eye color? That question shaped everything. From there, I kept asking more questions, and honestly, I still am. If you're stuck, start with what if questions. It doesn't have to be complicated. Develop the one that won't leave you alone and see where it leads. Your world's premise influences how characters behave, how society functions, what conflicts exist, what history develops. It's all interconnected. If world building feels overwhelming, ask one question and let it snowball. History. Every world has a history, and that history affects its present. You don't need to document every moment. This isn't a history book, but you should understand: how did your world begin? What major events changed it? What wars, revolutions, or discoveries still echo today? Readers don't need every detail, but you do. Because history shapes how people think, what they fear, what they value, and how they respond to conflict. When you understand that, your world feels layered without over-explaining. World building is not a backdrop. Your world isn't decoration. It should actively affect your characters. The best way to do that is to combine world building with conflict. What about your world creates pressure? Is it a class system, a government structure, cultural rules, limited resources? If the world forces characters to make difficult decisions, it won't feel static. It will feel alive. World building works best when it creates tension. Your world will always evolve. Your world will change as you write, and that's a good thing. You don't need to know everything on day 1. Your story only shows a portion of your world. Develop the parts your characters directly interact with. If you're writing a trilogy and book 1 takes place in a fairy community, you don't need the entire human world fully developed yet. Build what the story requires now. Worlds are expandable. Give yourself permission to build as you go. Avoid info dumps. I know it's tempting to explain everything. You created a beautiful building with a deep backstory, and you want your readers to know. But if that information doesn't move the story forward, it slows the pacing, especially in a fast-moving story. World building should relate to what's happening now. Prepare the reader for what's happening next. In Scythe, when Citra observes the Scythedom building before the conclave, the historical information tied to that structure is woven into the dialogue exchange between the characters. It's relevant to where she is and what she's experiencing. The next scene is about the conclave. The previous scene doesn't stop the story, it deepened it. The most natural ways to deliver world-building information are through character observation. What does your character notice? What do they think about it? How does it connect to what's happening right now? Use the five senses: what they see, hear, smell, taste, and feel. One resource that helps me is the Urban Thesaurus. It breaks down different urban environments like alleyways, train stations, city streets, and lists what you might realistically find there. The smells, textures, sounds, and specific details that make a place immersive. Tools like that can help you ground your setting without overwhelming your reader. The second best way is through dialogue. Characters can reveal world building details naturally through conversation, but it has to sound organic, not like someone reciting a history lesson. If you're unsure, ask yourself, how does this move the story forward? If it doesn't, reconsider it. Keep your world organized. Continuity matters. You think you'll remember everything, but you won't. Nope. For my first book, I didn't use a full series Bible. I understood my world, but I didn't have one centralized reference. For book 2, I created a series Bible and included all the information from book 1 in it. It includes government structure, social classes, city types, rules of the world. It keeps everything consistent, especially across multiple books. If you're interested, I've linked the template I use in the description. It's okay if your world isn't extravagant. You don't need elaborate names for everything. You don't need advanced technology in every corner of your world. If it confuses the reader, you lose immersion. I once described a train in my world in extreme techie detail to show how advanced my world was. And in critique, someone pointed out that that section took them out of the story. That feedback stayed with me. Balance matters. Your world can still be imaginative without being overwhelming. Which brings me to the next tool. This book called Putting the Science in Fiction. This book is a collection of interviews that were conducted by an author to different scientists to actually get accurate information about scientific information. For example, poisons, medicine, plants, technology. The person created this book so that authors can actually put the science in fiction, the real science into fiction instead of just making things up. Although science fiction and fantasy is fiction, but any elements of realism is always a nice touch when creating our stories. So there's things from plans to technology that you can skim through and look at for whatever elements you are using in your story. The people and the world. People are products of their environment. If a group lives near a volcano, maybe they're passionate, or maybe their culture reflects intensity. Use the elements of your world to shape how you describe the people within it. When people in place influence each other, your world and your characters become integrated. And this is where everything connects. When your world's history, power structures, and environment all influence your characters, the world stops feeling imagined and starts feeling lived in. World building can feel intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Start small, build intentionally, let it evolve. You don't need to know everything, you just need to start somewhere. If you want to see how I organize my world and keep everything consistent, check out my video on creating a series Bible next.